All right, so this is going to be a different video from what you're used to on this channel. I'm going to be talking about this article from The Hollywood Reporter. Now, I'm going to ask a question that I have not seen anybody ask. Trust me, I've been binging so many YouTube channels who are reporting on this article. There is something that nobody has asked yet. But yeah, so why are you listening to me? Well, my love of Pixar runs so deep, or used to anyway, that it's literally my name. My name is Andy Toy, and so I want to welcome you to this channel, and let's dive into this article. So basically, to get you caught up, Pixar employees did a screening for test audiences about 2 years ago, and they had all this weird stuff in it, like Elio was picking up trash, and one of them was like a pink tank top, and he had posters of men to represent that he was in love with them and all this shit. So the test audience was asked, did you like the movie? You know, they nodded their heads. They said, would you pay to go see this in theaters? And nobody raised their hands. So no, nobody's going to raise their hand and say, yeah, I'm going to pay to see a movie about an 11-year-old gay kid. So apparently the screening, when nobody raised their hands to say they would pay to see this in theaters, set off alarm bells for the executives. So let me dive into the article here. It says this. It was around the same time that Molina, the director of Elio, screened his latest cut of the film to Pixar leadership. There are differing accounts of the exact feedback that the director received from Pixar's boss, Pete Docter, when the lights went up, with rumors circulating in some of the studio circles that Molina was hurt by the conversation. Why is that newsworthy? We're talking about people's feelings here being hurt in a major news article? This guy has the job of a lifetime that millions of people would die to have, and yet he's a little ass hurt because his boss didn't like the movie he made. Okay, that leads me to the question. Here we go. The part that is clear is that Molina exited the project like a little emphasis mine soon after. You know, because he's probably got bank. He's probably got job security. The fact that he's not fired from leaving a project over hurt feelings. The rest of the world, mind you, does not have that luxury. When the boss asks any of us to take the trash out, when it's not in our job description, we do it, so we don't get fired. It goes on, and much of Elio and Stitch was reworked under new co-directors. I guess one of them worked on Turning Red. My question is this. Why, after already having almost completed the film, which would have taken about 3 years, and that's being very, very conservative, why was the project not shut down beforehand? Where was the feedback in all of those years? Let's go back even further. Where was the hard no when this was pitched to the executives?
No! No!
Where was the red light?
No! No! No!
And let's just say, for argument's sake, that Molina pitched this idea to the executives and he left out all the gay stuff. Let's just say, just for fun, he's pitching this movie or whatever. What else does he have to say that this movie's about? A kid gets abducted by an alien.
No! No! No. No, 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 no!
And he becomes Earth's spokesman.
No! No, 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 no!
No! No! Is that anything that any person in their right mind would greenlight?
No! No! No!
How is that fun for anybody? What? If you read the rest of the article, it's extremely clear that the only reason Molina wanted to make this movie was to have a gay kid in his film. Have a couple of shower scenes, get probed by the aliens. I would not doubt that if those scenes are like on the cutting room floor. But again, where were the executives this entire time? They couldn't have just said 2 years ago that, oh, being gay isn't cool anymore, because it never was. We've accepted it as a culture, just that it's a thing that exists. Like, Pixar used to do movies about death and grieving, about reconnecting with your children, or existential crises. Those are things that every person, gay or straight, have in common. That's why those films highly succeeded. I really just want to know, where were the executives during this whole time? Were the artists in Molino, did they have padlocks on the doors because it's like some loophole they found in some PR workbook that artists can basically just do whatever the they want behind closed doors? And I'm at the point where I don't give a shit if these movies aren't for me anymore, that's fine. Like Turning Red, perfectly adequate movie. I didn't like it. I think it's stupid, but I think it's good for kids. I think it's a very good movie for little girls to watch because I'm sure they can get something very valuable out of that movie. So I'm not just over here like, oh, Pixar isn't making cool cartoons anymore. No, I just want stuff that's safe for my kids to watch. One of the assistant editors at Pixar says, I was deeply saddened and aggrieved by the changes that were made. You work at Pixar. You have nothing to be sad about. And if you do have work grievances, it's because you brought your trash culture into the studio and messed everything up for everybody. So now everybody's pissed off and upset. And that is not to let all the executives off the hook for hiring all these dickheads. This assistant editor is apparently part of the company's internal LGBT whatever group, PixPride. So they have this little community group inside the studio for all the gay people to get together and cry, and it's called PixPride. You know, if you really want to start a community group at Pixar, you should start one and call it WWJD. Okay, you remember those bracelets that everybody got at Christian summer camp? Except this one would stand for, what would John do? Yeah, I said it. What would John Lasseter do? The studio died the second they got rid of him. And I will never forget that it was the year 2017. It was in the middle of the Me Too movement. Cancel culture was flourishing. And I was in line to buy my tickets to see Coco. And I get a text from my friend. Now, it's a picture of John Lasseter, and he says, what kind of company are you keeping? Because he knows that I worshipped the guy, and I still do. They never launched a full-scale investigation on him. At first, they sent him away for 6 months. But he came back and they said, no, pack your things. You're out of here. You're fired. Because in those 6 months, I can guarantee you, that's when all the activists just started to get together and they started celebrating. Like, hey, guys, this is our window in. That's what was happening at Pixar. And yet, they got rid of John Lasseter, allegedly, because he hugged too many people. It's because he said no to so many stupid ideas. I wonder if Elio was a movie that was pitched to John Lasseter and he said, no, that's stupid. We already have E.T. and they didn't have to go to outer space for that. Like, it's just frustrating. And the reason I'm pissed, I'm a dad. And for 5 years, which is like basically from the time my kids were able to understand and enjoy a movie, I have not been able to take them to a single Disney or Pixar movie. It's like one of the reasons I became a father to begin with. Like, I was so excited to have an excuse to go see all the Pixar movies, because it's like, yeah, I'm just going to take my kids. All the kids want to go, so just take them. But, Pixar and Disney, they don't care about that market anymore. That's fine. Anyway, that's what I wanted to ask. Where were the executives during all this time they were making the movie? And if I'm going to be really honest, I still have faith in Pete Docter. He was there from the inception. He is currently the chief creative officer at Pixar, but he's also the brilliant man who came up with Up, Monsters Inc., Soul. Like, he, Inside Out, he is solely responsible, pun intended, for creating some of the greatest Pixar movies outside of the Toy Story franchise. Soul was the last good thing Pixar did, and that was because of Pete Docter. I'm an authority on this subject because I have read every Pixar book I could get my hands on for the last 25 years. And if you're interested in checking those out, I'm going to put some links down below. Those are affiliate links to take you over to Amazon to purchase those books. I recommend all of them. They are amazing. And they're also really interesting to read in hindsight because it's very clear, like, what the studio is missing now. Anyway, if anything I said resonated with you, let me know down below. And be sure to subscribe because next week I'm going to be launching a mini-series. It's a 3-video series about how Pixar can do better. And I have some ideas that are pretty much going to blow your mind. But in the meantime, check out this video about Bob Iger and his spineless leadership and who I think should replace him. I also think the answer to that would surprise you as well. Until next time, I'll talk to you later, Roasters.